Welcome to another Microsoft Flight Simulator flight with SimPilot 2450. Today we'll be flying a FedEx delivery into Germany from Cologne to Paderborn Airport. Our departure airport scenery will consist of the payware EDDK Cologne Airport by Aerosoft, and our arrival airport scenery will consist of the freeware EDLP Paderborn Airport by Aerosoft. Now I should note, although this is a freeware scenery package, it is a professionally done package by Aerosoft, and they are offering this free to the sim community. Take a quick look at our flight. We'll be departing Cologne and flying northeast to Paderborn. And we will be departing from the cargo ramp at the Cologne Airport. Let's get started. Well, here we are at the FedEx ramp at Cologne Airport. And today our trusty flight will be taken using the 208 Caravan. It's a turboprop, single engine aircraft. Pretty dependable workhorse. Let's get in the cockpit and fire it up. Here we are in the cockpit, cold and dark. Alright, let's wake this beast up. Battery on.
TOS system test.
Avionics.
Okay.
Alright, let's get our course up on GPS. Bring up our winds. Let's check the ATIS.
Our airport information Kilo 10000 Zulu. Wind 269er at 8. Visibility 6. Sky condition 800 feet, scattered 4,500 feet scattered. Temperature 15. Dew point 13. Altimeter 29.902. ILS runway tree 2 right and visual runway tree 2 left in use. Landing and departing runway tree 2 right and runway tree 2 left. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller, on initial contact, you have Kilo.
We'll probably be hand flying most of this flight, but I will set up just in case we do use the autopilot. I'm going to put in 5,000 feet. We've got scattered clouds. Not sure exactly the level of these clouds. We are flying VFR, so we will be avoiding them as much as possible. We'll set our climb rate to, well, we don't need anything aggressive. We'll stay right around 1,000 feet a minute. Alright, that looks good. Let's get our lights on and get ready for pushback. Turn on strobe beacon. Let's talk to ground.
Ground FedEx 2450 requesting pushback.
FedEx 2450 pushback request accepted.
Release our parking brake. I am using track IR. Follow my head movements.
Ground FedEx 2450 requesting the end of pushback.
FedEx 2450 request to end pushback received.
Alright, let's start our engine. Fuel boost on, ignition to norm, start. Alright, engine looks good. Let's get our taxi clearance.
Ground FedEx 2450 with Kilo request taxi to the active departure to the east.
FedEx 2450 taxi to and hold short of runway 32 right using taxiway Alpha cross runway 24 Alpha. Contact tower on 124.908 when ready.
Taxiing hold short runway 32 right using taxiway Alpha cross runway 24 Alpha FedEx 2450.
Okay, so been cleared to taxi Alpha. Cross 24. Down to 32 right. Pretty straightforward taxi. We all set? Park and brake. Let's get our lights all on. Any ice? And taxi light. Looks like we'll have to dodge some clouds today. Being VFR, we need to remain from the clouds. We might cheat a little bit, but in real life you wouldn't. Cheating a little bit because I know there's a little nook in the taxiway here. set. Probably didn't need to taxi all the way to the very end of the runway, but I've always been a firm believer that leaving a runway behind you is not the smartest move, so I've always liked to use the full length of the runway. Looks fine.
Tower FedEx 2450 ready at runway 2 right east departure. FedEx 2450 cleared for takeoff runway 2 right east departure approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 2 right FedEx 2450.
Engine gauges look good. Flap set for takeoff. Trim set for takeoff. Here we go.
FedEx 2450 continue for east departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace. Tower FedEx 2450 continue for east departure.
Roll out here. Need just a small intercept angle. Now the question is, as we can stay below this cloud level, fly a little bit, enjoy the scenery, and then maybe we can climb up above the clouds and take a look there as well.
FedEx 2450, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Tower FedEx 2450, frequency change. Approach FedEx 2450 is type Cessna Caravan, 4 miles northeast of Adenauer, 2,800 feet. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
FedEx 2450 approach. Squawk 2401. Generic Zulu Papa Whiskey traffic alert. 6 o'clock less than 1 mile, 7,700 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Squawk 2401 FedEx 2450.
FedEx 2450 radar contact 5 miles northeast of Adenauer, 3,000 feet. Cleared through the Charlie airspace.
Cleared through the Charlie airspace, FedEx 2450.
Looks like the base of these clouds is right around 3,000.
Zulu Papa Whiskey traffic in sight.
Still hand flying the aircraft. The countryside. Caravan flies quite well. I'm basically flying hands off here. We've got it trimmed up. Does a nice job. Let's climb up in between cloud layers. Give us another interesting view. I always like to be up above a cloud layer and look down. It's one of the things I enjoyed most about flying. Still hand flying the aircraft. Looks like the tops are going to be somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000. Gotta love it.
Generic Zulu Papa Whiskey, you are leaving my airspace. Resume on navigation. Contact Langen Center on 118.75. .75 for generic Zulu Papa Whiskey.
hold somewhere right around 6,000, which seems to be high enough to be above that lower cloud deck. Again, we're still hand flying the aircraft. Caravan's trimmed up nice. Looks like we're not going to quite avoid this cloud. We'll just catch the very top of it. Just setting the heading bug to 235. That's the heading of our airport that we'll be landing at, runway that we'll be landing at Paderborn, unless the winds change. We are 47 miles out. I'll probably start my descent somewhere around 35 miles and just do a nice gentle descent. I'll do a traffic pattern of probably about 2,000 AGL above ground level.
Generic Zulu Romeo Kilo contact Dusseldorf approach on 118.65.
Alright, I'll engage the autopilot. And we'll take a look at our landing charts. Alright, we've got our chart up. We're going to be landing 2-4, at least that's what we anticipate. It's actually a heading of 235, so that's what I put in our bug here for our heading. And let's look at our elevation. 674, so we'll do our padding altitude 2,700 feet. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. How many miles out are we? 34 miles. Get past this next clump of clouds, we probably will be able to see the airport. So we'll start to do a slow descent. Down to 2700.
FedEx 2450, you are leaving my airspace. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved. FedEx 2450.
Come back with our throttles a little bit.
Approach FedEx 2450 is type Cessna Caravan, 6 miles east of Echo Delta Kilo Whiskey. Request flight following.
FedEx 2450 approach. Squawk 1457.
Squawk 1457 FedEx 2450.
FedEx 2450 radar contact 6 miles southwest of Echo Delta, India, November, 5,600 feet. Altimeter 29.92.
Copy FedEx 2450.
Approach generic Delta, Alpha Zulu Romeo Kilo 7,600 feet. Generic Delta, Alpha Zulu Romeo Kilo approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.92. FedEx 2450 contact Langen Center on 118.75.
Going to 118.75 FedEx 2450. Langen Center FedEx 245, 5,000 feet.
FedEx 2450 Langen Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.92.
There's the airport way out ahead of us, that flashing lane.
Cessna Whiskey Romeo Echo contact center on 127.6. Going to 127.6 Cessna Whiskey Romeo Echo.
Just reducing our rate of descent a teeny bit. Just have a very slow descent. 400 feet a minute. Feet a minute. at about 10-11 miles from the airport. We are probably here from ATC with our landing instructions. At this point, looking at the winds, we're still assuming that we'll be landing 24. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the airport we're landing at, Paderborn, the airport scenery it's been developed by Aerosoft. It's a professionally done scenery, but you can download that for free. And the neat thing about this airport is this is the home base for Aerosoft. They have their offices right there on the airport grounds. I think when we taxi in, we'll probably be able to see their building. We are currently 15 miles out. Should get instructions to start set up for our approach. I don't know if it will be a left-hand traffic pattern or a right-hand traffic pattern.
Landing center, Cessna Delta, Alpha November, 14,500 feet. Cessna Delta, Alpha November, landing center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902. Airbus Whiskey Zulu Romeo, contact Bremen Center on 125.1. Langen Center, generic Oscar Yankee, Bravo Quebec Echo, 8,500 feet. Cessna Quebec Yankee, Quebec contact center on 127.6. Generic Oscar Yankee, Bravo Quebec Echo, Langen Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902. 125.1 Airbus Whiskey Zulu Romeo.
127.6 for Cessna, Quebec, Yankee, Quebec.
Paderborn Tower FedEx 2450 is 1 mile southwest with Quebec to land.
Cessna Lima Echo X-ray, turn next taxiway. FedEx 2450 Paderborn Tower. Enter right traffic runway 24. Altimeter 29.902 and 269 at 8.
Fly right downwind runway 24 FedEx 2450.
Alright, so we're going to be flying a right downwind. Bring the autopilot off.
Cessna Lima Echo X-ray, exit runway when able.
Alright, we're hand flying. Let's set up for a right downwind. So what we're going to do, get on this side of the runway, and then we'll fly parallel with the runway. Still want to
Cessna Lima Echo X-ray exit runway when able.
descend about 100 feet.
Cessna Lima Echo X-ray contact ground on 121.9er tree. Going to 121.9er tree, Cessna Lima Echo X-ray.
So our runway is right here. So we'll be flying a route right downwind. So we'll get parallel with the runway. Eventually, we will pick the runway up right here out of our right window. Can't really see over the dash, which is typical in many aircraft. Here's the runway. A little rough. Let's see if we can land this beast. Here's the runway. And we'll keep looking out this window. The threshold is about 45 degrees. And beam our aircraft will turn base. So we're abeam the threshold. So now we'll wait until we're...
FedEx 2450 cleared to land runway 24. Wind 269er at 8.
Clear to land runway 24 FedEx 2450.
So we'll wait until we're about 45 degrees. That's looking about right, so we will make our turn to base. Come back with our power. Props are full. First notch of flaps. Just roll out. Second flap. Be a little high. With this airport, see if we want to exit on the east end of the airport. It's okay if we land a little long. We may have to slip this baby in though. We're fairly high. settling down now. Roll out. Alright, let's put her into a little slip here. Just a small one. Lose a little altitude. Alright. A little more of a slip. That looks good. Wind's pushing us around a little bit. We'll get lined up nice now. Let's fight for that center line. There, we made it. And we're going to taxi all the way to the end, so this is why I wanted to land a little long. So we can see Aerosoft's building, because I think it's down here on the left, somewhere in here. So we need to exit at the
FedEx 2450, turn next taxiway. FedEx 2450, contact ground on 121.9 tree.
121.9 tree for FedEx 2450. Paderborn ground FedEx 2450 taxi to parking.
FedEx 2450, taxi to general aviation parking via taxiway Delta.
Taxiing to general aviation parking using taxiway Delta FedEx 2450.
because we should see Aerosoft's building once we come up this ramp. Again, this airport scenery is available to download from Aerosoft or the Microsoft Marketplace for free. Alright, they're building it somewhere up in here. Let's see if we can see it. There it is, right there. Aerosoft. We're parked down at the other end instead of GA, just so you can get a look at the airport. There's a nice aircraft hanging inside that terminal. But this is free. And we're parked right up here. Well, there, we made it. I hope you enjoyed the flight. Until next time, have a great day.